So, good morning, everyone. We're going to be finishing up the assembly for the selfie stick, but I think it would be helpful to start from the beginning and then work all the way through so that you get a full video from beginning to end on how to assemble the selfie stick. With this, we're going to be using 2.13. We're going to be using the selfie stick assembly. This picture does a good layout of what this would look like. And I'm going to be zooming in specifically on this section. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. So remember that when you open this up, you're going to make a copy of the selfie stick, first and last name, right? It's going to take some time to load. What I want to say is that you can use almost many different mates, substitute any mate almost for a lot of these sections. Specifically, some parts you have to use the specific mate. For instance, using the revolute for the part that moves, using the slider for the pieces that moves in and out. Those are pieces. Those are mates that you'll have to use for those sections. But using the fasten mate has a lot of diversity in how you can use it. So we know already the first mate that we're going to use. We're going to use the slider mate. So we'll go over, we'll click slider, we'll click the first tube or first piece, pole, and then we'll click the hole, and boom. That is our first mate. You can now slide this up and down, but we know that we do not want the whole thing to slide. So now we're going to right click the bottom pole, and I'm going to click fix, okay? At that point now, we'll be able to move this up and down while the bottom pole still stays in the same place. Good. Now we're going to keep it rolling. So we're no longer on slider. I realize this now too. Make sure that after you right click fix, that you click the check mark for the slider, just so that there's no confusion and that still is fixed. Okay, now we're going to use fasten. We're going to use fasten, and we're going to zoom in on the bottom hole of that Y piece. Okay, now remember this is going to be on the base of this first piece, and that when you mate it, sometimes it will mate upside down. Do not fret. You're just going to click the flip primary axis button, and now everything is right side up. Okay. Speaking of revolute, we're going to go ahead and do the revolute or the revolution mate. So we can go ahead and click that revolute mate. We're going to make sure that we try to click the correct holes for each one. So if we click this outside, or the hole that's facing us right here, okay, then we're going to want to click this inside section. And I'll show you this two different ways. I can rotate by using my right mouse. I can click with my right mouse and rotate, or I can click this other corner of my viewing cube so I can get that other inner diameter, okay? So let's go ahead and click that, right? And that is more or less what we want for our revolute. We can click check mark, and we can see that this now moves on an elbow, right? Okay, now this is where we basically left off, but now we can go ahead and move forward and finish up the part. So with the fasten mate, I'm going to click fasten. All right, we're going to click the, hold on. Let's make sure that we're good. All right, make sure everything's good. We're going to click the fasten mate, and we're going to zoom in on this bottom plate right here. We're going to use that bottom base of that pin. So now what we're doing, we're using this pin and we're aligning it with this bottom connector. Once we have that base highlighted, we're going to actually look underneath this piece. Again, you can either use your right click, or you can use the actual arrows, the actual corner pieces, corner views of the viewing cube. Then we're going to select right here where this hole is, okay? Once we select that hole, it snaps right into place. We can look at it from another angle, and we can click check mark. That's more or less what we want. Perfect. Now that we have those two-piece fastens, I do just like, so I'm fastening those two pieces first. Now we're going to select fasten again, right? Or one, we can be done. With our first fasten, we're going to select another fasten, and we're going to select the bottom of the pin. Once we select the bottom of the pin, okay, once we select the bottom of the pin, we can change our view, and we're going to actually select this gap right here, for that second piece. You'll see that it will move, it will snap onto place. Once we click check mark, you'll see the other piece will follow. Okay, so now if we've done this correctly, we should have, we're not going to do a fast and forth now. I want you to just see what we have right now. I'll close off. I can slide this pull up and down, and now I can use this pivot. Oh, there's this pivot left and right. Good, perfect. Okay, now we're going to go back to fasten. We only have two more pieces left. The next one we will use fasten as well, but I will show you another mate that we can use. So you use slider when you've had a type of cylindrical connection. Now, when I say that, now we will use the actual cylindrical mate. The difference between the slider and the cylindrical mate is whereas the slider is a connection that will slide in and out, the cylindrical mate will be fixed. It's more so aligning those two. So I'm going to show you the cylindrical mate, and I'm going to show you the fasten mate, because you can do many different mates with the fasten mate. With the fasten mate, I can use, say, this base, right, of this connecting piece with the base of the piece that holds the phone, and it lines up. And many times that is you lining up with that hole. If you line both of the holes up, they'll automatically snap together. Okay. Now I'm going to close that because I'm going to show you again a cylindrical mate. Okay. With the cylindrical mate, you can use, here we go, the cylinder itself, right? And we'll be able to mate with the cylinder or the hole of that piece. Okay. Both are fine. You can use the fasten mate or the cylindrical mate. Okay. We're going to use the cylindrical mate for now. Click the check mark. And now we have, a spinning problem, right? Now, the reason is, while it matches the cylinder, it's not fast. So we can add another mate to add another degree of cylindrical piece. But with that, we're going to actually go back to using our fasten mate. Okay. So with that, if you ever want to delete a mate, you can right click, delete the mate, right click, delete the mate. Okay. And then we'll be moving our part. We can select and drag our part off. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and use the fasten mate instead. Okay. And hey, we make mistakes. With the cylindrical mate, we thought we were going to be able to get it to stick and stay still. We saw that it was spinning perfectly fine. We can move over to our fastened mate. Remember, we can select the actual pin itself, and then we are going to select the hole of the bottom piece. You can select and keep those pieces there. Now, what would match for the cylindrical and what would work for the cylindrical mate is this piece right here. Why? Because we do want this piece to slide up and down, right? We don't necessarily want this piece to move. We want that to be fastened. But the piece where the phone fits, I know I actually have one right here. We do want that to stretch. So we will use a cylindrical mate for that. I only got that because of distance learning. I am not trying to do anything serious on YouTube. Um, with that, we will actually use the cylindrical mate. That time, we will click the cylindrical mate. Excuse me. We will click here on the that piece that the first piece of the phone holder, and then we will click. Make sure you click the right cylinder, second cylinder. Oh, there we go. There we go. Of the piece. And now that we have this, we can click check mark. And this piece should be able to. We don't need the other cylindrical. We're going to close off that. This piece will be able to go up and down. You will see that it's not swinging now, right? Because we only have one of the mates up there. So we will need to do one more cylindrical mate. We will need to do two cylindrical mates for this because there are two poles. Select cylindrical one more time. Select where you want this cylindrical mate to be. Click check mark. And now we have our full selfie stick. If we zoom in, close out our mates. If we zoom in, bring the slide up on a pole. I know that it's not the greatest accuracy because these will slide in and out, but we can use our imagination. There's advanced mates that we can use to stop those from moving, and we can add limits to that. I don't want to get into those right now. We will get into those in another time, but we can rotate these as well, right? This can go up and down, and this piece can go up and down as well. Like I said, ideally you wouldn't want all this piece to go up and down at the same time. That gets into advanced mates. The simple mates you can understand right here, and how to assemble the overall selfie stick, and understand how the different types of mates work. I hope that this was helpful. You guys have been doing a great job, working hard, and I will see you all later. Take care.